Hello, my name is Tiffany Ridout, and I would like to take this opportunity to speak with you all about new media and how it has changed our way of communicating. You all may be asking what I mean by new media, in which I am speaking of is ways of communication in the contemporary workplace. As quoted from our text, business and professional communication in a digital age by Jennifer Waldeck, Patricia Kearney, and Timothy Plax. New media is a term that encompasses the digital or networked information and communication technologies that have emerged since the latter part of the 20th century, such as email, instant messaging, smartphone technology of text messaging, and Facebook are just a few examples. Email usage has and is still growing at a rapid rate. There were an estimated 3.8 billion email accounts around the world by the start of 2019, and 100 million increased from 2018. This makes for half of the global population using email. As stated in this graph here that I have created, email users by population, it shows how Europe is the leading in the email population at 82%, whereas Australia is at 68%, and the world average is at 55.8%. With that being said, that there are more people in Europe that are using the email system than it is even worldwide in all other countries. Millennials and Generation Z uses email for work, school, and keeping up with the trends. Many of them have two email addresses, one for social media and then another one for professional and personal accounts for communication. This makes for a better way of being able to communicate and know who your audience is when you have two separate email accounts, because you keep your work strictly at work and then your personal can be strictly personal, whereas you can have things to come to your personal email as far as your own personal business, like things at home with your kids, school, and then anything that is typically outside of work. With the many amount of people who uses email, there are only a few email clients that actually exist. Here's an example of 10 of the email clients that exist, with number 1 being Android's Apple phone. There are the headliners for the email clients. Gmail is coming in at number 2. Those are more for the actual people who kind of set up accounts through Gmail on your computer, or a lot of them tend to end up being Gmail through your Android cell phones, is a lot of the ways that are generated, Gmail emails are generated. And then at number 3 with Outlook. And Outlook is being an email outlet that is usually used through businesses. Outlook is a more of a controlled email system, because it is used through businesses, to where it likes to it has more security as to not depict people to be able to hack and do other things to create havoc within being able to access some of personal information within your email. Email serves as a perfect formal method of communication. Almost everyone with internet access uses it. You need email addresses to communicate with work, register social media accounts, and do so much more. So if you are an adult who does have responsibilities, it is best to have an email address set up, because the way of the world and how things are set up now, you're definitely going to want to have an email address set up to be able to finagle through and receive messages as needed, far as for whatever business you're taking care of. Instant messaging is a business communicator tool that is becoming increasingly popular for informal communication. Google Chat, Jabber, Slack, and many more are some widely used instant messaging services. These messages are sent and received in real time and creates conversation format for two-way communication. I have even read that a sales team can pass information privately to one another during conference calls with a customer to comment on what is being said. That is just how instant the messages are received. This instant messaging kind of reminds me of like when they say two-way, it kind of reminds me of the old school walkie-talkie that you used to have, except for it was more of a handheld, and you would be able to access another person who was on that channel of the radio on the other end of that walkie-talkie, and you would hear it in real time and you would be able to respond in real time. That kind of reminds me of the instant messaging, except for instead of verbally talking to each other, it's like you're able to talk to each other over words on the keyboard. It's more of a silent type of talk. I guess that's what you would call it if you would say that. Because messaging systems feel more informal, it is still important to remember you are in a work setting when you're using these messaging systems. Some companies don't allow use for them because of security and liability concerns. And this can also be made for distraction through employees, and it risks sending private and personal information. So a lot of companies, they don't bother with the instant messaging for their employees, but then some, they feel like it's a tool that is needed far as for communicating, so that they are giving good customer service to the customer whom is on the phone, of whom they're speaking. They don't have to keep putting a person on hold to be able to find out information from someone else who has been in the mix of, or who needs to have dialogue with that person or give them information. They can continue on the conversation, and that makes for more speedy phone calls that are taking place. Text messaging over smartphones is similar to the instant messaging. These messages tend to be more private because they are sent over personal phones. Still, you got to be aware, though, when you're sending a text message, you got to be aware of your Wi-Fi security access risks, because if you're kind of out in public and your phone automatically connects to a company or a facility's Wi-Fi, then therefore that could leave your phone open for access for information that could be given through from out of your phone to that particular company. So in those regards, you wouldn't want to do that. So just make sure that when you are out and about, and if you do have your phone set to Wi-Fi, and this is something that I actually kind of learned throughout my class this semester from one of my classmates, was that when you are using your cell phone, make sure to have your cell phone's Wi-Fi off so it's not automatically picking up Wi-Fi as you're walking through businesses, because it opens that door for them to be able to access information through your phone. So just be aware. Facebook is another another communication point that a lot of people are using right now. Facebook is more of a form of social media communication, and it was founded by Mark Zuckerberg, along with several of his several of his other Harvard College classmates. It is an online social media networking service that can be accessed from devices with internet connectivity. Users can create a profile of information about themselves after registering. This information can be shared with others that become a friend or public, depending on the privacy settings. Facebook is the most downloaded mobile app of the 2010s globally. It had more than 2.3 billion monthly active users as of December 2018. Throughout the information that is fed through the personal page, there are algorithms set up to filter certain information to your page. In 2015, an algorithm was put in place to attempt to filter out false and misleading conduct, such as fake news and hoaxes. Facebook allows for a messaging service application which lets users make one-to-one group voice and video calls. Businesses have interacted through Messenger with using features to track purchases and receiving notifications, and interacting with customer service reps. There are also privacy settings that enables users to control access to individual posts and their profile. Accounts are verified, confirming using users' identity. Facebook is mostly used by people from India and the United States. It increased activity users from 1 million in 2004 to over 2.3 billion in 2018. The top chart that I have here, it depicts the Facebook users' growth from the time that Facebook started in 2008 all the way to 2018, how the line has more than quadrupled in actual users from the date of start until 2009. That's phenomenal. The population that uses Facebook the most is men and women. The ages of, and the bottom graph here shows that the ages of 18 to 25, men and women, are the ones who are mostly using the Facebook app, which is here. The next group in line to be using the Facebook app are the ages from 26 to 34. The ages from 35 to 44 is in third. The ages 45 to 54 comes in fourth. Those are users who are people who are using Facebook even more than actual teenagers who are down here who are using it more or less than even the adults. So as we see in this graph here, they're showing that more adults are using Facebook as of right now than the preteens and actual teenagers. There are so many ways of communicating in this day and age with options of whom you would like to communicate with. The new media has brought in access to one another from one continent to another in a matter of seconds without even verbally speaking to one another. Communication has become phenomenal with the state of how technology has grown. And I can't wait to see how much more we will grow in the continued age that we are moving into. Thank you for listening to me. Hopefully you gained some kind of knowledge out of what I just spoke about in the new media, understanding some of the new media and what it has brought to communication for us around the world. Thank you.